Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Act Like Barbara podcast. I am Barbara. Good to see y'all back. Today I am tackling the next in my little series of getting started on growing your business or starting your business, and that is to create a path. It should be very obvious on your website or your social media platform or wherever it is that you expect potential clients or potential buyers to show up. It should be very obvious where and how they should work with you. Is it? Case in point, my new website, actlikebarbara.com. If you go there right now, you should see it very obvious way in multiple places on how to either book a call with me or apply to be coached by me. That is by design. I want it to be super obvious, easy, no obstacles in the way. What do? I show up at this website. Oh, okay, that's how I start working with her. Cool, I'm going to do that. Not hard. You don't want to make this hard at all. Why? Because if you add in any level of friction, chances are you're going to lose your people. People have very limited amount of time, energy, and resources to spend dealing with you, and they're already potentially skeptical of whether or not you can help them make their life better. So why not remove those obstacles and get them on the path to working with you as quickly as possible? So how do you do that? Well, the first way, and the way that I obviously use, is to have a very clear, concise website with a contact form or a scheduling link. Word of caution on the scheduling link: looky-loos and people who are not actually serious will still schedule through the scheduling link, therefore filling up your calendar with not real appointments that they either don't show up to, or maybe they'll have the decency of at least canceling ahead of time, but like usually not. So I do like this is one place where you might want to throw in just a little moment of friction, which is a contact form. Still easy for them to do. Feels like a step in the right direction. You now have their contact information. You can send them information from there. The reason that I do that as opposed to just having my scheduling link out there is just to give me a chance to vet that person, make sure that they are legitimate, that they really do want to work with me. I can then decide if I want to ask them more questions or if I just go ahead and schedule an appointment with them. But that gives me a little bit more control over how that process goes down. That said, you can automate that process completely. So follow whatever method that works best for you, and you can, of course, build on that and grow that as you go. If you can't tell, that's my theme here. Build as you go, learn as you go. Don't need to have everything set up perfectly to begin with. So that is a great way to do that. Another way that you may want to have people work with you is in your email signature. Your email signature is actually a very valuable section of real estate that you can use to direct people to work with you. Now, you can direct them to your website. Most people do that. But you can also put a little note in talking about how you're accepting one-on-one clients right now, or you've just launched this brand new product and click here to check it out, or any number of things. You can also put when you're out of office or events that you're going to be appearing at or speaking at soon. The sky's the limit. Your email signature can be kind of as long as you want it to be, given any restrictions, I guess, based on your email client. But utilize that space to direct people towards whatever call to action you are currently pushing. And if it is to work with you or to sell a particular product, use it for that and update it regularly. Make that a normal thing that you change as your marketing changes. Another possibility, and this is great even if you don't have a website yet, is to create a landing page. Now, a landing page is like a website. It is a web address that people would go to. But a landing page is a one-trick pony. It's probably not going to have your bio or any extra info about you or this podcast that you showed up on last week. It's not going to have all that junk. It's going to have one job. It's going to have one narrow focus that you are directing visitors to do. Usually it's to type in their email address and sign up for your email list. But it can be to work with you in some way. But you can create a one pager. Most CRMs do have the option of creating a landing page, which feeds directly into your CRM and puts their contact info straight into that. So you can then manage that relationship and hopefully eventually sell to them. But you would want to set that up and direct people to that, especially if it's a new product that you haven't sold before, or it's a new service that you're trying out, or like I said, it's just the call to action to sign up for your email list. Maybe you have some kind of free opt-in or something that they get, an ebook to receive by download once they give their email address, and from there they can start getting your newsletters or whatever else that you'll be sending out. That is a great direction to go. Again, you don't have to have a website yet. A landing page can be very easy to set up and make. You could probably build one in less than an hour. Most CRMs do have it. They have templates ready to go. You just change it to whatever colors and fonts and pictures that you want to add to it, and you're all set. And if I haven't said it enough, I'll say it again. Just go with what's good enough. You don't need to get too fancy. The more that you interact with clients in this way, or potential clients rather, the more cracks will show, and then you'll know what to do to fix them. For example, I have a very, very real story to share. When I first put my scheduling link up, and yes, I put it up for anyone to book, it was within a private community, so that is helpful to kind of limit who was signing up. But I left a big chunk of time available every single day. Not 7 days a week, but I think I was at 5 or 6 days of availability, which is nuts, by the way. Don't do that. So I had tons of availability, and I forgot to add in any buffer time. Calendly is the scheduling link that I use, and you can add little 15-minute buffers either before, after. You get any amount, actually. You can tell it how much time you want before and after appointments. I didn't have that. So I had, gosh, the first onslaught of people scheduling with me, I was like back to back 5 different one-on-ones, no time in between. Now, if you've ever worked with me, you will know I often go over the time allotted. And of course, I never do that if the client can't or doesn't want to. I am always respectful of people's time, but the conversation is good, and I tend to have really fun, good conversations with my clients. I will want to keep going because we'll want to wrap up whatever it is that we've unraveled during that conversation, so that we know what their action items are to do and how I can support them, any resources I need to send them. So anyway, I was, as you can imagine, running late for most of them. Once I got going, I was exhausted. I had no time to process. It was dumb. It was dumb. Rookie mistake. Don't do that. Don't do my rookie mistake. Put in a buffer time in your Calendly. And on top of that, I now only allow 2 days a week for people to book. And one is a pretty big window of like 4 or 5 hours on Mondays. And the other is like an hour and a half, I think, window on Tuesday. And that is it. I will make exceptions. If somebody were to tell me, hey, I can't make that, then of course I'm going to find a different time for them. But generally speaking, I want people to pick the times that I have available. I have set times so that I know if someone books there and then they don't show up, which unfortunately happens every now and then, I know that that time was already allotted towards me working anyway. And I have tasks ready to go that I can start working on if there were to be a no-show. So my time is not wasted, and I am not feeling resentful or burnt out over too much time being given to potential clients or to one-on-ones. So solid. Just figure that out for yourself. It's going to look different for you. You just have to figure out what works best for you. But I definitely encourage you to start slow and grow from there. Don't burn yourself out on that. But just another story to hopefully reinforce that you just got to have to try it and mess up a little bit. I survived, by the way. I don't know if you know, but I did live to tell the tale of providing way too much time back to back for people. And yeah, those people probably didn't get the best of me, but they're still around, I think, for the most part. So obviously it didn't scar them too badly either. And we all survived, and I do much better with that nowadays. The point is, which I say many times, you can only steer a moving ship. The first client will have the clunkiest process, and that is a good thing. You'll only go up from there. If you look back on your first clients and you think, oh man, I did it so much better back then, well, something is seriously wrong because that's not how this works. It will be hard the first time for everybody, and it's okay. That'll be okay, I promise. The other thing that you may want to include, again, either on your booking page or maybe it's in the content you create or the newsletters that you send out, wherever people are learning about you and your services, you want to make it obvious to them about what working with you looks like. If you're sending out a product, give a realistic timeline for when they will receive that product. If you are working with people on a video call, then you'll want to say up front what the length of the sessions or calls will be. You'll want to factor in moments of when you're going to need their input and how long things will take on your end. For example, my web designer, who's wonderful to work with, she was very clear about her timeline of finishing my website and also gave me specific deadlines of what she needed from me. And that was fantastic. That gave me an idea of what was due from me and by when. And so I could plan my schedule and the things that I needed to get on my end for her to finish her job. And then I knew based on that when my website would be done accordingly. So you just want to be overly communicative about what it is that you need from them in order to provide what it is that they are purchasing from you. Use that. Definitely, like overly communicating is almost always better. You want to be concise and to the point, but you do want to say the thing just to be sure everybody's on the same page, even if you're pretty sure they already know. It's better to just say it anyway. Make sure they know what they're getting themselves into. You may also want to let them know ahead of time if you plan to be on video, if you would like them to turn on their camera, or maybe it's just a phone call. All to say, demystify the process for them. The one thing that I've heard about getting people to show up at a meetup, for example, is actually to post pictures of people at a previous meetup. And it's not for any like weird reason. It's actually, well, maybe it is kind of a weird reason, but people just want to see what everyone's dressed like and like how many people are there. Like that's what's keeping people home, especially my introverts out there. You know who you are, and you're like, I don't want to go to this thing. What do I? Well, I'm gonna look dumb. Am I gonna fit in? Is that or I don't know what people tell themselves when they're like, I just want to stay home. That's also valid. But what can really help encourage people to make the move towards something new, a change, which working with you will be if they are a new client, is to get an idea, a visual on what it looks like to work with you. What does it mean to have your product in their hands? Pictures are a great way to show someone that. You can also describe it. You can write about it. You can talk about it on a podcast. You can do all of those things, but showing people is very powerful. So if you are able to, especially if you are having an event of some kind, showing some pictures of the kind of people who are there. One of my clients recently threw a big fundraiser and had such wonderful photography and videography done of the event. And now that's fantastic marketing material. I mean, the people there were attractive and well dressed and having a great time, and no one was being ridiculous. Everyone was being really happy and obviously having a good time and having fun. Great marketing. But that shows people what to expect from you. That's what you want to do in clarifying your path. So I hope these tips were helpful for you. Of course, as always, I will continue to be making weekly content here. If you ever have any specific questions about starting or growing your business, always feel free to comment or send me an email. Go to actlikeBarbara.com. You can email me that way or send in a message that way. But also, of course, if you are looking for more help, hand-holding, accountability, coaching, I do that, obviously. So you can sign up to work with me, like I said, on my very easy to navigate website, actlikeBarbara.com. Sign up to work with me there. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the next part of the series. Bye, guys.